I want to show something that may not be obvious. You can convert a slip lead into a clip-on leash just by using a carabiner on this ring. And this topic is more complicated than you might think it is, so I'm going to talk about this more in a minute. The reason you might do this is if the stopper became broken and you couldn't use your slip lead anymore. Although I've got another video showing how to make this, so you can always do that too. But all you have to do, in fact, you can use this with the stopper present. You just this one's real easy with the cord lock. You just pull the cord lock out to the end, lay it sideways, and just fit this through. But really, any stopper should do this. You might have to work harder at it to fit it through the ring, but if you can fit the stopper through the ring, you might have to really work at it. This one's not so bad. If you can get the ring on the other side of the stopper there, then you just pull this through. However, before I do that, let me just show you something. When you put it back together, notice how this flat part is on the inside of the loop. Don't put it back together so it's the other way with this bulge on the inside. That might not feel good on the dog's neck. So, all right. So you just pull the handle all the way through. There we go. Just pull the handle through, and now you've got a straight piece of rope, and you've got this end to put a carabiner. And now I'm going to talk about the carabiners. Alright, so here's an assortment of things that you might consider using on the end of your slip lead to make it a clip-on leash. And these are real carabiners. These are made for rock climbing or for holding a lot of weight. These are called quick links. They're sold at the hardware store. They hold a lot of weight. So I'm going to talk about those next. Those are good to use. This is the stuff that concerns me. This is the stuff you find at the hardware store in a bucket for $2 each. They don't hold a lot of weight. They're not meant to hold weight. It's just more of a novelty type thing, a fashion statement. These are keychain variety type things. This is made to hold a lanyard, or like if you had a lanyard on your neck and you had ID tags to put on it, that's what you would wear. So I don't know, that might be okay for a Chihuahua, but you know, you're not going to use a 1/2-inch rope for a Chihuahua anyway, so I don't know, I wouldn't use that. This is a keychain sold in the keychain area at Ace Hardware. It screws down like this, and that might help hold it together so it doesn't stretch open, that connection right there. But again, you know, I wouldn't expect it to hold much weight. These are keychain types things also. They're not meant to hold weight. Once you get into the larger ones, this is what worries me, is when people see these big ones at Home Depot for $3 or $4, and they might think, wow, this is serious stuff, but they're not. They're not meant to hold weight. It might be for hanging something in your garage. It's just utility type hardware. It's not meant to do anything. So this stuff will work. You know, one thing to keep in mind with this stuff is that when you hold a leash in your hands, your arms flex, right? So when the dog pulls, your hands give with it, they flex, they bend, your body may sway a little and give with that force from the dog. You might take a step to brace yourself. All of that give significantly reduces the amount of force seen on the rope and on the carabiner if you have one attached. So these things, you know, even though I'm given a big warning about this, how you shouldn't rely on it too much, there's really not a lot of weight that's seen on the rope if you're holding it, compared to if the rope is tied to an immovable object like a tree or a pole. If the dog gets a running start at that, you know, maybe runs 2 or 3 feet and hits the end of the leash, that's far more. It's just amazing how much more force is applied to that compared to holding it in your hand and having a kind of a natural shock absorber where everything kind of gives a little bit and reduces that sudden force. So, you know, you just have to keep all this in mind. You know, this stuff is not safe to hold much weight, but then again, when you're holding a leash in your hand, that reduces the amount of weight too. So just keep everything in mind and try to choose the right thing for yourself. So these are the things that are really meant to hold weight. These are called quick links. You find them at the hardware store. They're meant to go on a chain, add a link to a chain. So you might have two pieces of chain, and you put, you know, one link through here, another link through here, and this would connect the two and create a longer chain. The way it threads together here adds strength. That's an integral part of the strength of this. I think this one's like 800 pounds. It'll hold 800 pounds. I forget how much that is, 125 or 200 or something, I don't know. But anyway, they sell them at the hardware store. It's printed right on the package how much they hold. They're called a quick link. And then these are real carabiners. These are mini carabiners, and you can find, there's quite a few different brands. I'll put in the description of the video below this the different things I've found. But this one is the Metolius F.S. Mini, and you can find this at REI. You can find it online. I think it's like $7 or something. It's not too bad. It's a spring gate compared to a locking gate, and this one holds 4,900 pounds, so that's a lot of weight. It's sold, usually you find like hammock companies selling these to connect maybe a hammock to a tree. And okay, so that was the Metolius F.S. Mini, and this is the Favofit, and it has a locking gate. I don't know what would cause this to spring open on its own. I don't think you really need a locking gate, but if you felt the need to have that, it's there. It doesn't add strength this way. It just prevents this from accidentally opening. It just blocks it so it won't open. Okay, and this one holds, I forget if I said, it's 2,700 pounds. It's hard to tell in this video, but this one's thinner than that one, so that's why there's a weight difference there. You can see it right there. That's pretty thin right there, and that's thick. So just first glance you'd think they're the same, but this one is a little bit thinner. But this is sufficient. I mean, this would hold a pit bull tied to a tree or something. Not that you should tie dogs to a tree or anything, but I'm just saying that that rigid, if it's connected to something rigid, it's going to have much more force. And this should, even with a really strong, powerful dog, this should be enough. 2,700 pounds, that's a lot. So anyway, there's more of these. I'll link, or I'll show a list of them in the description below the video. But just be careful what you use. But this would be good for, this is the way to go. This is the ones that you really should be using. The next choice would be these quick links, but they're kind of a hassle to connect because you have to secure this threaded part. These things, you know, they're I would try to stay away from this stuff, but again, you know, you just keep in mind whether you're holding the leash or if you're tying it to something immovable, because that'll have a big difference, make a big difference on how strong these have to be. All right.